Alright, hello everybody, my name is Mayo and welcome to a video on how to operate a manual transmission car. You can't see the pedals. Alright, well anyway, this video is going to be an instructional, informational video on how to drive a manual transmission, standard transmission, stick shift, 3-pedal, clutch car, whatever you want to call it. Genuinely, it's honestly really easy. The best way to practice with one is if you have a friend or a family member who has a stick shift manual transmission car, ask them if you can drive in it, in practice, or go out and buy your own and practice in yours. That's what I did. Actually, no, before that I had practiced in my one classmate's stick shift, and I stalled about 30 something times, but yeah. And then I got my own without knowing how to drive a stick properly, and I got it within the day. I learned it within like an hour. It's super easy. It is kind of scary at first learning how to drive stick, but trust me, it's super easy and you'll have it down within a day, and by a week later you'll be on the highway and just cruising around town and everything, so you don't got to worry about nothing. So it's super simple. So for the basics, let's just get the basics out of the way. You have your gauge cluster. The best cars to practice learning how to drive stick, I'd say, is a Honda Civic, or any Honda really. I have a Civic Si. This is my EP3. If you guys have watched my videos before on the channel, you know this is my Civic Si. But yeah, no, I'd say the best cars to learn how to drive stick is definitely any Honda, whether it be a Civic, an Accord, CRV. Well, older CRVs are manuals, but mostly you're going to find the Civics and Accords having a manual. Older CRVs have manuals, CRXs, but those are super rare Preludes. Any Honda, I recommend learning how to drive stick in. Hell, you can even learn how to drive stick in a C6 Corvette. Yeah, a Corvette, I wouldn't recommend it, but from what I've heard, the clutch is actually super linear, and it doesn't like bite. I mean, it doesn't like it's not a vicious clutch. It's very linear, and it's super beginner friendly. So yeah. But anyway, let's get started with the basics. So in a stick shift car, you will not have a traditional lever like this, P, R, N, D, 3, 2, 1, whatever. There's no shifter here. Well, I mean, typically the shifter's here, but in this case, the shifter's up here. In a traditional standard transmission car, the stick will be down here, like where my water bottle is. Maybe a little bit higher, like maybe here. Depends on the car. But this is a unique car, so the stick is up here. And typical pattern is going to be an H. I do not have the stock shift knob, but it's an H pattern. And an H pattern is, in the middle is neutral, remember. In every standard transmission car, the middle is neutral, and you'll be able to know when it's in neutral when you can wiggle it back and forth like that. So if you want to make sure you're in neutral, remember, always wiggle your stick, okay? Yes, always wiggle and jiggle your stick to make sure you're in neutral. So a standard H pattern, and in this case, this is a 5-speed transmission. Majority of the standard transmission cars you'll find these days, that are still being made, albeit very rarely, those are going to be usually 6 speeds, sometimes 7. So, but in this case, this is a 5-speed. So first gear is to the left and up. That's first. Second is to the left and straight down. Then third is up through the middle and up. Fourth, straight down the middle. And fifth, to the right and up. And depending on your car, reverse might be you have to push down and then push to another side, or you might have to like I know in Subarus there's like a little locking thing, you pull that up and you put it in reverse. But in this case, in my car, reverse is you push it to the right and down, and now you're in reverse gear. And if you're in a modern car, you'll have a backup camera and you'll know when in reverse. And then in a 6-speed, it's the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except in reverse. Except where reverse would be, that'd be 6th gear. But this is a 5-speed, not a 6-speed. So let's get learning. So when you find yourself in a car, you're going to want to turn it on. So I have my car turned off now. And now in a traditional automatic, you can see, here's the key. You put the key in, there's nothing going on. There's nothing happening. Because in this case, there's something in a manual transmission car. It's called a clutch safety switch. And for that, you need to push the clutch all the way to the floor. It's hard to see. You guys can't really see down there. Wow, you really can't see down there. But trust me. Anyway, yeah, I need to get better lighting because you guys cannot see. But you're going to push the clutch all the way to the floor. You're going to make sure the clutch is all the way in. And you turn the key on. Make sure you're neutral, jiggle the stick. And there you go. And that is how you turn on a manual transmission car. You have to always make sure that the clutch is fully on the floor. Trust me, when I was looking for a car with a stick, I always forgot that the clutch had to be pushed all the way down. Or I didn't forget, I just didn't realize I was pushing it all the way in, you know what I mean? Because I would have the clutch, like kind of halfway out or, 3/4 of the way in, and the car wouldn't start. Because, I didn't know, but, it takes some getting used to, but you'll find out easier. You'll find out easy. And to park your car, this is how you park your car. Well, actually, you don't really need to put the handbrake on, but anyway, this is your handbrake, parking brake, emergency brake, whatever you want to call it. This is your handbrake, parking brake, emergency brake, whatever you want to call it. And you need to put this on when you park your car. You don't really need to. Hell, if you wanted to, you can fucking be going 60 miles an hour, put that shit in neutral and turn the car off, and you'll still go. That's why stick is great. But for added extra peace of mind, when you turn your car off, you want to pull up until it doesn't go anymore, and you'll pretty much always see then the gauge cluster that you'll see your brake is on. And for added measure, you want to put your car in gear, but we'll get to parking later. Alright, so now to release the handbrake, you're going to pull up and push the tab in and let it down. And now you're ready to go. So for this, you guys, it's really hard to see down there. Can I get it over here maybe? No. Oh, here we go. I can turn my flashlight on. Perfect. Okay. So now, to drive the car, you'll notice that there's 3 pedals. The one all the way over here is your gas. That's your throttle. The middle is your brake, just like an automatic. So these pedals are the exact same, just like an automatic. Your brake and your gas. But the third pedal here is your clutch. And you never want to drive stick with one foot. If you can drive stick shift with one foot, I'll shake your foot, because you're either seriously impressive and talented or you're a fucking psycho. But yeah. So you want to operate just like an automatic. Your right foot is going to be on the gas, and your right foot is also going to be on the brakes. Your left foot will only operate the clutch and stay on the dead pedal. There's not a pedal here, but that's what they call it, the dead pedal. That's where you rest your foot, because you don't want to rest your foot on the clutch pedal, because that will just wear the clutch out prematurely. Trust me, I know about being premature, and it's very embarrassing and not fun, and it costs you a lot of money. So, and you'll feel it too if you're like driving along. Let's say you're cruising in 4th or top gear, and you rest your foot on the clutch, you'll feel the vibration from the clutch on your foot. So you never want to rest your foot on the clutch pedal, because that just wears your clutch out prematurely, and nobody likes premature. So yeah, let's get rolling. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to operate a clutch car. So first, you want to push the clutch all the way down to the floor, like so. Make sure the clutch is all the way in. You cannot push it any further. And now, with the clutch in, you're going to shift into first gear. Remember, you can't shift gears with the clutch out. See? First, second, I can't shift gears. The clutch needs to be engaged in order to shift gears. So the clutch all the way into the floor. First gear, so we're in first. We go first gear, remember, to the left and up. And now with the clutch in, we're going to add a little, you're going to lift the clutch out slowly until you feel the biting point. The biting point of the car, you'll feel it. The car is going to start to shake not violently. The car is going to shake and buck a little bit, but don't let that scare you. Just when you feel that bite point, when the clutch starts moving, or when the car starts moving, you're going to add some gas, and then you're going to start rolling, and then you're going to let the clutch all the way out. And just like that. And now you're moving. So now we're going to come to a stop. We're going to push the clutch all the way in, shift to neutral. Remember to wiggle that stick, and we're going to push the clutch out. And there you go. You got out of first gear. Hopefully you went along with me and you did it yourself. I kind of planned on this video being a follow along guide. So hopefully you got that good. So now you know how to get out of first gear. Just keep on practicing. You will stall the car. I don't want to stall mine because I just don't want to at the moment. So with that being said, we're going to get out of this parking lot and show you how to upshift. So we'll push the clutch in and we'll put in first gear and we'll get out of the parking lot. Oh yeah, and you ideally want to practice in a large parking lot. This is a small parking lot, but I know what I'm doing, so I don't need a large parking lot. But, go to the mall or something, like a not busy mall or a shopping center that's closed. Just find a super big parking lot and practice driving there, just like how you would any other car. Just remember, wiggle the stick. Now I'm going to show you how to upshift, which is super easy. Downshifting's a little more difficult, but it's easy for me, but not for everyone else. But downshifting is typically a lot easier. Harder than upshifting. So now I'm going to show you guys how to upshift, because you just can't stay in one gear forever. You have to shift up. So, oh yeah, and when you're getting out of first gear, you ideally want to, you want to rev it up between 2,000 and 2,500 RPM, and then, let the clutch out smoothly. You can either hold the gas like this, or you can just, tap the throttle. But, whichever way you want to do it, you go for it. So now, we're going to try to upshift. So remember, clutch all the way in, let the clutch out smoothly, give it some gas, and we're moving. And now, clutch in, second gear, let the clutch out slowly, clutch in, third gear, and there you go. And we're just going to get up to top gear, so fourth gear, and now our top gear is fifth, so we're clutch in, fifth gear, and now we're in top gear. So now I showed you how to upshift, let me show you how to downshift. So now we're going to downshift. Clutch in, fourth gear, let the clutch out smoothly, third gear, ready, clutch in, third gear, let the clutch out slowly, and you'll hear the engine start, going down. And right around 1,500 RPM, you want to push the clutch in, shift it to neutral. I know it was a lot to take in, and it is a lot to take in all in that little small segment. But let me just give you some points of reference that'll help you learn a lot easier. So and by the way, reverse gear is the same as first. So let me give you some reference points for helping you on how to drive a stick shift. So getting out of first, you want to rev it between 2,500 and 2,000 RPM, around there. You can rev it a bit lower, but when you let go of the clutch, you're gonna be kind of you're gonna buck a little bit, and you know, yeah. If you've been in a stick shift car with someone who's inexperienced, you'll know what I'm talking about. And for downshifting, coming to a stop after you downshift, you want to wait for the car to be at least under 2,000 RPM. If you let the car just drift in gear, or if you let the car just coast in gear and it gets below a certain RPM, you will stall the car. That happened to me once, actually. I was with my friends, and my friends were distracting me, and I forgot. I was like in third or fourth gear or some shit, and we were just coming to a stop, and I was putting my foot on the brake, and next thing you know, the car just starts violently shaking and just stalls, and I'm like, huh? And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't shift into neutral. So always remember, whenever you come to a stop, to shift the car into neutral, or else you will stall the car. And it's not fun. It's quite embarrassing, especially when you're in traffic. And for reverse gear, reverse is kind of the same as first in the sense, except reverse is actually, typically in most cars, it's linked with second. But in terms of getting out of it, reverse is the same as first. You just push the clutch in, shift into reverse, give it some gas, and then you start moving backwards. Like so. So that's pretty much it. I mean, let me just make a little turn here. I'll have to pause the video in 1 sec. Okay, let's just say you're cruising along and you're in third gear, and you're going around you're going around 30 miles an hour, close to like around 35 miles an hour, but you have to stop up ahead. So what you do is you push your clutch in, you shift to neutral, and then you coast a little bit longer, you know, and then you have to keep going because the person turned. So you're like, what do I do? Well, you look at your speedometer and see what speed you're going. And then from there on, you can judge what gear you need to be in. So like right now, I need to be in second gear. So I push the clutch in, and I shift to second, and I slowly let the clutch out, and I give it some throttle. And now we're cruising again. It's as easy as that. And that can be applied for any gear, except for first. Ideally in first gear, you typically don't want to shift back into first gear. First gear is kind of just like, you know, you're just getting moving. Ideally, you don't want to shift back into first, because it's not a very long gear, it's a short gear, and you know, typically you just really don't want to shift back into first. After you get out of first gear, you're out of first gear until you need to come to a stop again. And if you go into any other gear that's not supposed to be in when you're at high speeds, you will blow up your engine. That's called money shifting, and you don't want to do that. So let's say you're going like 80 miles an hour, and let me give a better reference. Let's say you're in fifth gear going 60, and you downshift into second. Yeah, depending on the car, you know, you might be lucky and scrape by at like close to red line, but majority of the time you'll end up, let's say you're going hard, you're going ham, you know, you're revving to red line every single gear. Your first gear, boom, red line. Second gear, boom, red line. Third gear, boom, red line. And you try to you're in third gear and you're at red line, you go into fourth, but you accidentally go into second, you'll blow up your engine, and it won't be fun. You'll fucking blow up your engine. That's why they call it money shifting. And you'll probably blow up your transmission too. And at that point, yeah, you just scrap the car unless you got a lot of money, or unless you care about your car really. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this ghetto tutorial on how to drive a stick shift. And now that we're parked, make sure to pull up your parking brake, then get out and do what you got to do. Go to work, go to school, do whatever. And then come back in after a long day of work, long day of school, turn your car, parking brake down, first push the clutch in, first gear, and then you're off. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it informational or something, leave a like, I guess. If you didn't like it or didn't find it informational, leave a dislike or something, so I can know. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my ghetto ass tutorial. Damn, that girl over there, she's hot. Ooh, you can't. Yeah, she's hot. I'm gonna rev my engine so she gets my attention. So I get her attention, and she'll be like, "Oh my god, his car's so cool. Oh my god, I should date him. Let me get his number." Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Love you. Oh wait, no, maybe.